Hi, my name is Natalia Sut, and I am originally from Poland. I was born in Szczecin, which is a city here in the western part of the country, but my part of my family comes from the area around Warsaw. These were farmers who lived there at least still since 1700s, and then my mother's side of the family comes from a small village in what today is Ukraine. Um, I left Poland for educational purposes. I went to Egypt, and it was first an exchange. Then later, I really liked living in Egypt, so I got my master's degree there, and this is where I met my husband. I was educated. My high school in Szczecin. This is the picture. Was named the seventh high school of Kamil Baczyński, who was a famous Polish poet. After that, I went to study ethnology at Warsaw University, and after the exchange program, I ended up at the American University in Cairo, getting my second master's in anthropology. People who inspired me to study history were and there was a number of people. One person in particular was my professor at Warsaw University. Her name was Aza Drożyńska, and she taught historical anthropology. And I just absolutely loved her courses, and she was the one that really made me realize what it means to understand the big picture and connect different processes and different events with cultural milieus. It was just a very different kind of thinking, and I was just fascinated by it. I always liked reading. Books related to medieval culture, and some of the people that I really like are Arjen Gurevich, that not many people here in the US have heard about, but he was one of the historians, historians who belonged at the same time to Annales School of History, and followed in or wrote on similar subjects as Jacques Le Goff, Fernand Braudel, and Roger Chartier, who are also some of my favorite historians. Uh, I come from a very different educational background. This is not my picture, but I also remember wearing uniforms, and our schools were different, not only in terms of the student teacher relations, but also the expectations. And I think there was, to be honest, we were not as pampered as it seems to me that students can be here sometimes. I think that, you know, as every sword has two edges, I think that in some ways it was good, and it taught me to search for knowledge, and just look for things on my own. But at the same time, I think the relationship between professors and students were never as friendly and encouraging, and you couldn't really treat your professors as your mentors and friends as sometimes it is possible here. Another thing that I feel like is really different is just the way the material is divided. And so, for example, in my high school, I had history and Polish language and geography and biology and chemistry and geography all for 4 years. And our classes, our blocks were much shorter, but they continued throughout all of the years. And I felt like this was maybe harder on the teachers, but it was easier for us because the chunks of information that we were getting were a little bit smaller, a little bit more accessible, and there was more reviewing because of this way of learning. And so we just basically had more time to absorb knowledge. And so I really appreciate that, and I feel like comparing, for example, my children who are in high school right now, and the way they have to study, I feel like they have it much harder here, and it's easier for them to forget the information that they. My philosophy of teaching is, I think, can be described by this little cartoon that I created a little while for my blog, so I hope it will play. So this is how I imagine my class to look like, and as you can tell, I really like technology, so I would like to incorporate a lot of this kind of stuff in my instruction. I think that if students can be encouraged to really like history, but you have to find the way to do that. And I think finding the topics or time periods or areas or themes that appeal to students' imagination and interest is one of the ways to hook them up on history, and I hope that I'll be able to do that. Here are the sources that I used for the pictures, and thank you for your time.